Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
Welcome to Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati as Fox Sports Ohio brings you Cincinnati Reds baseball and the battle for the Ohio Cup. The Reds and the Indians will complete their four-game set, 2 in Cleveland, 2 in Cincinnati, as the Reds are trying to win the Ohio Cup for the first time since 2010 with a victory tonight. Hi, hello, and welcome to Cincinnati, everyone. Along with the crafty left-hander Chris Welch, I'm George Grant. Jim Day will join us momentarily. But what a difference a couple of days makes, Chris, with this team's offense.
Well, you know, George, it just seems like when you're at the very bottom of the bottom, they start scoring some runs. They get hits that fall in for them a little bit. And here over the last 4 games, they've seen their team average rise over 315. They're averaging more than 6 runs a game. They're getting doubles. They're getting home runs. And finally, they're getting hits with runners in scoring position. And that is really the difference between winning and losing.
Offense has had a lot to do with it, and so is pitching. The Reds got outpitched in game 1 of this 4-game set between the two cities. In the last 2 days, they've had outstanding pitching. And today, they'll face the first left-hander they'll face from the Indians.
Well, he's not exactly a household name, but he did get his first Major League win earlier this year on July the 5th. T.J. House is his name. He's not an overpowering left-hander, but he gets the ball up there around 91, 92 miles an hour. Has a nice slider and a changeup. It'll be interesting to see how the Reds right-handers take to this left-hander out there. He'll be faced, however, by Homer Bailey, and Homer is on some kind of a roll right now. His last couple of games have been very, very good. And the stats say in Homer's career that he gets better and better as the season goes on. His August numbers are awfully good, lifetime, and I expect him to go out there tonight and really have a good night against this Cleveland Indians team, even though they throw a lot of left-handers at you.
Homer's ready to go to work. So are the Reds. Can they come up with another W here? A win here would give them the Ohio Cup for the first time since 2010. Doesn't take the big guys to do it all the time. Last night it was the little guys, and Jim Day will tell that story next on Fox Sports Ohio.
Fox Sports Ohio is brought to you by your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
I can feel it in my bones. The pitching is coming around. Maybe we get BP and Votto back here pretty soon. Chief Wahoo in town for one more tonight. I think you'll have some clouds, but no rain. 79 to 76 to 74. Give me a hot one right down the middle. Woo! Get them on, get them over, get them in. Enjoy the game on Fox Sports Ohio.
Tim, thank you. I'm Jim Day on the field. The Reds had a recent 4-2 road trip, and now they've won 2 straight against the Indians. The offense has woken up, and it's come from guys down in the order, guys that you wouldn't expect to be your offensive leaders. But Zach Cozart's bat has woken up. Tuesday night he had 2 hits, including a triple and a single. And you look at his numbers the last 2 games, 4 for 8. And Christopher Negron getting a chance consistently to play in the infield with the injury to Brandon Phillips. He can play all over the infield and has been playing second base. And if he keeps these numbers up, perhaps he's going to get a lot more playing time at second base because the kid has some pop, as he just showed. Here's our IGS bringing the energy. And look at Pena, Negron, and Cozart last night. Pena 2 for 4, scored a couple runs. Negron 3 for 4 with that home run, 2 runs driven in. And Zach Cozart 4 big ribeye steaks last night. The 5 through 8 hitters 7 for 12, 6 runs driven in. They've scored 7 runs over the last 2 games. If the Reds get that production, they might just win the Ohio Cup for the first time since 2010. And there it is, the cup. Will they be drinking out of it tonight? Reds going for a victory over the Tribe. George and Chris are next on Fox Sports Ohio.
For the 4th game of this 2-city 4-game series. The first one won by the Indians. The Reds have won 2 in a row. Let's check Tito Francona's starting lineup for his Indians ball club. That comes at 57 and 57 at 500 in 3rd place, 6.5 back in the American League Central. Jason Kipnis will lead it off. David Murphy will bat in the number 2 spot. Michael Brantley, who left the game early after tweaking a little bit of a leg muscle, is back in the lineup. Santana, the switch hitter behind him. Yan Gomes, boy, he has been hot, not just against the Reds, but against everybody this season. He's had a tremendous offensive and defensive year. Nick Swisher, trying to battle his midseason slump, will be in left field. Ramirez at short, and DJ House will pitch and bat in the 9th position. And here's Homer.
Homer Bailey looking for win number 9. He's got 22 starts on the year, Bailey does, and this is start career-wise for him 165. Career number 7 games over 500 as a pitcher. And lately, though, Homer has been really dealing, as he normally does this time of year.
That's a strike, says the home plate umpire Will Little, rookie umpire in this crew. Jerry Davis, the crew chief, is at first. Greg Gibson at second. Phil Cuzzy, the veteran umpire, at third. Kipnis 246 overall, 6 homers, 36 knocked in. Against the Reds, though, they've handled him pretty well. Only a 191 average in his career against Cincinnati.
Now you're coming off a 3-hit night last night, though. So it's almost, you're asking yourself, well, you've handled him in your career, but what have you done lately? And lately he's been very hot. That makes 4 consecutive hits in a row for Kipnis now, including the last 3 ABs last night.
And we talk often, Chris, about going back to basics. Here's another look. He's shortened his swing, and he's just trying to go back through the middle.
Well, it's a 0-2 count, and you can see the height of that pitch. We didn't see exactly where it was on the plate, but anytime you throw one thigh high, you take a risk of giving up a line drive, and he is all of a sudden swinging the bat very hot.
He flied out his first time up last night, then 3 line drives to left field for base hits, and that was his 4th consecutive base hit in 4 straight at bats. Here's Murphy in a 262, 7 homers and 53 knocked in. David, most of his career, a member of the Texas Rangers from 2007 through 2013, originally selected by the Red Sox. Solid player, Chris. You know, he's under the radar, but you know, he's solid defensively, does the little things offensively. His numbers don't jump out at you, but a good guy to have on a ball club, and he's been filling in that right field slot most of this year with the injuries they've had, and Bourne, of course, now on the disabled list, but starting a rehab. They hope to get Michael Bourne back within a week. No balls, 2 strikes. Did he go?
Murphy's lifetime about a 270 hitter, maybe 275 hitter. Hits you anywhere from 10 to 15, 17 home runs a year. And he fits in this Indians team because they love to run left-handed hitters against right-handed pitching. They've done very well against right-handed starters this year.
Flag down. They'll get one at first. What a play by Frazier. Boy. It gets by him. That might score a run. It's at least second and third. And before the game today, Terry Francona was saying, you know what impresses me about this club more than anything? Defense. And here's another example, Chris.
Well, you don't get good pitching without that good defense. And that ball was hit like a shot. Frazier's used to playing the hot corner, and he makes a smart play. Steps on the bag. You still have plenty of time to get the runner on the tag play. And that good D, boy, that'll put a smile on everybody's face.
Statistically, the Indians are the worst defensive team in the American League, and if you look at it not just statistically but how they play, they're probably the worst defensive team in all of baseball. At the other end of it, the Reds, who have been dramatically improved in the last 3 years, and the way they play the game, even the numbers don't tell the true story of how good they are defensively.
Yeah, and it's really a nice compliment to some of the fill-in players, because you're missing Brandon Phillips, your best defender. You're missing Joey Votto, your everyday first baseman, and you're plugging in guys in different spots all the time.
Phillips out of the lineup. Negron's played well at second. There's a looper that goes over the leaping effort for Frazier into right field. That'll be a 2-base hit for Brantley. He continues to do what he's done against everybody, get base hits. But check your poor defensive alignment. The Reds with only 53 miscues on the year. A little bit of a change tonight with Ludwig at left, Hamilton in center, Bruce in right. Santiago gets the start at third, meaning Frazier moves to first. Cozart and Negron, who had great defensive and offensive games last night, and Mesoraco behind the plate. That's your forward defensive alignment. So how important was that double play ball now?
Well, you're not kidding. That ball gets by him. We're already a couple of runs on the board. Be careful of Carlos Santana. Good fastball hitter. He's good for at least 20 bombs a year.
He's got 20 already this year and 53 knocked in. The average down at 230. He's transitioned from behind the plate. They thought he'd be the third baseman. And with everything that's going on, with Swisher having troubles at first and the injuries they've had, he's moved to first. Chisenhall's solidified his role at third. But the switch hitter can drive the offense, and right now he's the one that drives the train offensively for the Indians. Santana in his career 2 for 8 against Bailey. Two balls, no strikes.
A little early to be pitching around somebody, but the fact is that you do have the only legitimate right-handed hitter in the on-deck circle right here. So Homer doesn't feel comfortable. He's given up 3 hard-hit balls already to the first 3 left-handed hitters. You fall behind 2-0. There's no reason to groove one to Santana. Well, he was hacking no matter what.
Ooh. Now, Homer's not had great success against the Indians. Overall 2-5 and an ERA of over 6 against Cleveland.
Good action on that fastball, though. Nice easy motion, kept his fingers on top of the ball. Nice run down and away from a lefty.
Just missing inside, and it's 3 balls and a strike. Brewers have already won today, so the Reds are 4.5 back at the start of play. They won at 3-1 behind Willie Peralta today. Pirates and Miami are underway scoreless. Cardinals and Red Sox are underway scoreless, and they're not underway yet. They'll start in about a half an hour. Three balls and a strike. That's ball 4. So it'll be first and second with 2 away, and here comes Yan Gomes.
I'm not bothered one bit by that walk from Homer Bailey. You know, he's trying to thread a little backdoor slider, backdoor cutter in there right there. But you had a base open. You've got a very formidable left-handed hitter up now. Now you've got a right-hander coming out. Now Yan Gomes, you can say all you want. He had a good night last night. He's one of the hottest hitting catchers in all of baseball. But fact is, he's right-hander, and Homer doesn't really use his slider very much against lefties. He uses mostly fastball splitter. This will give him an extra pitch in his arsenal to go after Yan Gomes.
Gomes 2 for 2 in his career against Homer. And we talk often about the great season that Reds catcher Devin Mesoraco has had. A breakout season. It's been breakout for this guy too, both behind the plate and at the plate. He has become a very solid contributor and ranked as one of the top 3 or 4 catchers in the American League.
And there's your first pitch slider.
He's shown us he can hit a fastball, hasn't he?
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Everybody can hit a fastball, or else it wouldn't be here.
Yep.
Some just hit them more often than others.
And they stay longer. There'll be a few of those around town this weekend, huh? Hall of Fame weekend for the Reds. 20 of them in and around the ballpark starting tomorrow. What a festive weekend it's going to be. Hope you get a chance, if you're in and around the Queen City area, to stop by the ballpark, because the festivities will take place here at Great American Ballpark, and of course Sunday night the Hall of Fame gala will take place as well. A celebration of baseball, a celebration of Reds history and tradition, highlighted of course with Ronnie Oster, Dave Parker, Ken Griffey Jr. being inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame. They'll be here, and it will be a festive 3 days. No balls, 2 strikes. Another slider, Chris? He came up at him and in. Good move by Bailey. He dodges the bullet. 3 hits, 2 hits in the inning, but he still is scoreless. 4 of this set T. Let's check Brian Price's starting lineup for the Reds, trying to remain 4 games back of the Brewers, who have already won. Billy Hamilton leads it off, and Jay Bruce against the Indians this year, 357. Todd Frazier in the number 3 spot. Mesoraco will hit cleanup. Then Ryan Ludwig's back at left. Christopher Negron and Zach Cozart were the fuel for the offense last night, with big home runs and big nights offensively and defensively. Ramon Santiago will play third today, and Homer Bailey, the pitcher, will bat in the 9th position. That is your Meyer starting lineup for the Reds, and here's the first lefty the Reds will see in this series.
Well, you're right about that. He's making only his 11th start of the year. He won his first major league game back on July the 5th against the Kansas City Royals. He gives up a lot of hits. He's given up more hits than innings pitched. He walks a lot of batters too, but he gets many ground balls and lots of ground ball double plays. A little bit of a slinger, throws his fastball 90 to 92, likes his slider a lot, and the right-handers will oftentimes go to that changeup as well.
That's a bouncer past the third baseman. It'll go into left for a base hit. So the Reds finally get Hamilton on in what could be a base stealing situation. Billy's on. He's in at 268, 6 homers, 42 knocked in.
Well, it's a game of inches, isn't it? I mean, if you hit this ball same speed right at the third baseman, you're looking at it 0 for 1. You're wondering why you can't get any hits. So you get it, you slide it right in the hole right there. All of a sudden, makes you feel good about yourself. You get on base. Everybody in the ballpark now anticipates something happened with Hamilton at first. Jay Bruce not giving him much to work with. He just hack up the first pitch he sees up there.
43 stolen bases for Billy, behind D. Gordon in the National League, and in this previous 3 games between these two teams, he has not been in situations where he's been able to get the running game going, and he's getting a first look at House's move. So you give him a couple of pitches and see if he can measure it.
Well, House has not thrown over to first base yet. I'm always a proponent of, with left-handers out there, get a real big lead, a one-way lead, and as soon as he picks his foot up, go back to the bag. See if you can't get him to show you his move. And right now he's given Billy Hamilton 2 different types of moves. One is a normal leg kick. The other, the middle pitch, was a slide step. Opponents have stolen 3. They have not thrown out a runner yet. Trying to steal off of TJ House, 24-year-old from Picayune, Mississippi.
They'll throw over there now.
Now you got to figure, is that his real move, his A move, or his B move? These lefties, you know, they can be tricky.
How long did it take you to develop an A move?
I'm still working on it. I had lots of B moves though.
There he goes. And it's fouled off.
That's the problem with 2 strikes, you know, is that you have to swing at that pitch. Billy Hamilton had that base stolen, no doubt about it, but, you know, it looked like it could be a strike for Jay Bruce, so he's in there just trying to protect.
A lot of pressure on the third baseman at short, because if Hamilton gets rolling and he does not cover third base with the shift, Hamilton will go from first to third on a stolen base. That's a bloop to the left side. Backhanded, long throw. Forget it. That's a base hit. Here comes Hamilton, and he's in there. He's coming to the plate. He's going to score. Just what we talked about. Somebody's got to cover third, and Billy doesn't wind up at third. He winds up in the dugout, and the Reds lead it 1-0.
Well, it all started with the shift. Jay Bruce hits it the other way with 2 strikes. Good bit of hitting right there. And Chisenhall, the third baseman, playing like a shortstop. Now remember that Carlos Santana's a catcher. He's got a good arm, but Chisenhall was really kind of getting to the third base bag the same time Billy Hamilton was. The throw was down. And for a defensively challenged team like the Cleveland Indians, when you've got guys playing out of bases, running all over the place, you were going to force them into errors, and that's exactly what Billy Hamilton did there.
They could make a play, and more often than not, the Indians have had a season where those plays have resulted in disaster. And there the Reds get a run and lead it 1-0. Here's Frazier. Line softly to second. Kipnis has it. And there's your first out of the inning. Here's your defensive lineup, sponsored by Ford. The Indians, with more errors than anyone else in baseball, have Swisher in left, Brantley in center, Murphy in right, Chisenhall, Ramirez, Kipnis, Santana, and Yan Gomes behind the plate. House on the mound. Here's Mesoraco into 294, 18 homers, 54 knocked in. Indians will bring the infield in with 1 out and the runner Bruce at third. Now, Chris, you often talk about get a lead early offensively, but when you take a lead away defensively, like Frazier did with that play in the first, that can uplift you just as much as a big offensive inning can.
Well, you know, getting Billy Hamilton on base, though, is different than just getting a lead. It changes the whole energy inside this ballpark. I mean, it made everybody nervous. No one knew really where to cover.
Yep. And you know, when you're a good defensive team and you're athletic, sometimes the shift can be helpful. But if you're not athletic and not a good defensive team, sometimes the shift will put you in bad position to make bad plays.
Well, you're right, and that's what happened. Chisenhall was late getting over to third. I think maybe the pitcher should have been there.
He goes fishing for that, a swing and a miss. So there's your second out, first strikeout for House.
Doing a pretty good job of trying to pitch his way out of this jam. You know that T-shirt, George, that they sell that says "Life is good."
Yep.
How about one that says "Life is good" when Hamilton gets on first?
Yeah.
Because he really changes everything.
Yep.
And I think it's interesting that Brian Price has Jay Bruce in that number 2 spot. And that's getting Bruce some fastballs, and Bruce begin hitting that ball the other way a little bit, and very interesting here.
Here's Ludwig, runner still at third. You know, Joey Votto said it when they moved into the number 2 spot, and everybody said, well, you know, number 2, what do you think? And Joey said very clearly, he said, this is more protection than I've ever had because I'm going to get more fastballs with Hamilton on first. There's V on the bench. Towards the hole. Yep, that'll get a run in. Ludwig's 33rd run batted in. The Reds lead it 2-0.
Well, the Reds have essentially hit 3 ground balls. 2 of them have, in fact, all of them have found the hole on the same spot, the 5.5 hole between third base and shortstop.
You said a game of inches, Chris. There's another 6 inches that made a difference there.
You know, you've got a guy like House who runs that ball down, uses changeups against right-handers. I'd move that shortstop way in that hole all the time.
6-game hitting streak for Ludwig. That'll bring up Chris Negron. What a night last night for Chris. He had 3 hits, a single, a 2-run homer, and a double. 3 for 4 evening. Couple of fine defensive plays this week as well. And a big boost to the Reds with Phillips on the DL.
Well, he was kind of a media star today. Did some interviews on camera before the ball game. A lot of the Reds were coming out of the dugout early saying, well, what's going on with Christopher Negron? Very polite young man. Happy to be here. Really appreciates the fact that he's getting a chance to play Major League Baseball.
Chisenhall flags it down. The throw in time. But the Reds do some business in the first. The leadoff hit by Hamilton. That gets it started, and they lead it 2-0.
2-run inning for Cincinnati, 2-0 over the Indians on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day, and Baseball America recently came out with their tools segment, the best tools in baseball. We've got a comparison of Billy Hamilton and Dee Gordon, the other speedster in the National League. According to Baseball America, the best bunter, Dee Gordon rated first, Hamilton second. Best base runner, flip-flopping. Hamilton voted first and Dee Gordon second. But fastest base runner, now this one might be up for debate right there between the two. And what's interesting about Dee Gordon and Billy Hamilton, they're business partners. Speed kills. They're selling merchandise, and they're both on board, friendly, and they're a perfect match for each other because, man, can they fly.
They just need you as their agent, JD.
I don't know about all that, but if they want some help, I'm in.
Hey, you're next to the Reds dugout, and you know we can look around the ballpark. You feel the energy, the electricity when he gets on. How about that dugout when he's camping around second, went to third?
They go nuts for him down here, and you know, they flat out, like I said earlier on this past road trip, it's really a sign, you know, on a team and human society, anything, anywhere. If everyone's kind of poking fun at a guy, you know that they really like him. The teammates really embrace the guy, and they know, and Billy knows, as he goes the Reds. He says the pressure doesn't get to him. He actually likes the pressure.
As JD goes, so do we go, Chris.
That's scary, but I'll go with that.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Lonnie Chisenhall. Chisenhall leads it off as we go to the top of 2, followed by Swisher and Ramirez. We've seen some pretty fast Reds. I mean, Ryan Freel will always be one of our favorites. They'll go back. Davey Collins was, boy, was he a burner or what? It was great watching him. It's a hard hit ball, but foul down the first base line. Watching Deion Sanders going from first to third was special. But
on a ground ball back to the pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, unbelievable. And on a play like that. And we saw Brandon Phillips go from first to third against the shift with a ground ball in the infield too. And Billy did exactly the same thing. When the shift is on and he's on base, he's always thinking third base. Negron has it. Chisenhall's retired. 1 away. Your favorite Reds base runner of all time could be Billy Hamilton before it's all over.
Yeah, it could be. Right now it's Joe Morgan.
Yep. Yeah, Joe said it about as well as you can, and he tells these guys in spring training, it's not how you steal the base, it's when you steal it. It's that 8th inning run.
Well, the thing about Morgan, and Billy will get there, and he's getting a lot of help with Billy Hatcher, who's an extremely smart baseball coach. But Joe Morgan, you could watch a pitcher throw over 2 or 3 times, and Morgan had his move. I mean, he did something that would give it away, and sure enough, that's one of the reasons why. I mean, Morgan wasn't the fastest guy in the league by any measure. When he got the lead, he knew how big a lead he needed to get against different pitchers. He knew their tendencies. And most of that he got on his own.
Hit right on the button to right, and that's the kind of year it's been for Swisher. Swish hit that right on the button, but right at the right fielder Bruce. He comes in at 209 on the season. You know, say the same thing. You know, Barry Larkin could have regularly led the league in the National League, but he realized his role was different. I mean, remember that one year where he was just 3 or 4 stolen bases off the league lead, and people said, why don't you run more? He said, I don't run until it means something for my ball club. And Joe Morgan was the same way. Here's Jose Ramirez in at 190, a couple of homers and 1 knocked in. The thing you like about Billy is that he brings the same ability to study the defense and study the pitcher that Joe Morgan brought to the table. That's a liner caught by Santiago. Defense, defense, defense. 1, 2, 3 in the second. Santiago will lead it off when we return. MLB.com's easy and free game. Beat the streak. Pick players to get hits in 57 straight games, and you could become a millionaire. Play MLB.com. Beat the streak today. Reds trying to streak to their third straight against the Indians. A win here tonight would give them the Ohio Cup for the first time since 2010. They won it in 2010, and then the Indians won 5 of 6 the next year in 2011. The last couple of years, two teams split the season series.
How many people, George, do you think if you were to stop somebody on a street and they identify themselves as an avid Reds fan, and you ask them who is in possession of the Ohio Cup?
If you got one, you're pretty good.
You're right. Because I had no idea until you just told me. I'm still
and does it mean
really
anything?
sunk in.
The Ohio Cup you want is the one you win in the World Series if they both make it to the World Series.
Exactly.
2 balls, no strikes to Ramon at 235 and a homer. Dribbled in front of the plate. House has it, 1 away. He joined us late. Reds struck early. Billy Hamilton reached down a base hit. Went from first to third on a base hit by Jay Bruce with the shift on. And then when they tried to gun him down at third, the ball got away from the infielders, and Hamilton scampered home to make it 1-0. And Ludwig, with Bruce on third, singled him in, and the Reds lead it 2-0. Indians haven't had a lot of left-handed starters, and this man, House, started their first left-handed spot of the year after he came up on the 17th of May.
An interesting story about T.J. House. When the Indians drafted him in 2008, he was the 16th player drafted by the Indians, 16th round player. Nice play right there. And normally a 16th round player doesn't get very much money to offer because they figure, you know, you're down the list, you're going to give your highest money to your high round draft pick. Well, he was a high school kid. He was thinking about it. He was already committed to going to Tulane. And they offered him $750,000 to sign and forego that scholarship to Tulane. And he jumped right on that and has been in the Indians organization ever since.
And I think they also included in that money to go to college.
Right.
Which a lot of the teams do now.
Well, they do that. Yeah, that's all a negotiable point. It's almost always thrown in there because the precedent has been set.
Drilled back through the middle, and Bailey's going to have a base hit. Homer boosts up that 128 average with that base hit.
The Reds are hitting the ball on the ground. There is no doubt about that. The only ball that they've gotten into the air was a waist-high, semi-soft line drive hit by Todd Frazier for an out to the second baseman. Everything else that they have hit when they put a ball in contact, whether it's gone for a base hit or not, has been a ground ball. They've had 3 ground balls go by the third baseman. They've got 1 up the box. And now one Mississippi native versus another Mississippi native as Billy Hamilton's ready to go.
Billy singled to start the Reds rally in the first.
Well, you wonder if these guys ever played against each other in amateur baseball. T.J. House is from Picayune, Mississippi. That's at the very southern tip of the state. And Billy Hamilton is from Taylorsville, which is south central.
Hit pretty good left center field to the warning track. It will drop for a hit. Here comes Bailey around third. They're going to send him.
Billy.
Here comes Billy. He's following him, and he'll hold him at third. No, they throw to third. He's coming to the plate. They've got him in a rundown. 1 throw, 2 throw, and they finally tag him. If he had kept going, he probably would have scored. But he slammed on the brakes. He'll get a triple and a run batted in and tagged out on the rundown. Unbelievable. Off to the races was number 6. We'll see it one more time when we return. Reds lead at 3-0. Wow, Chris. Now the man with the happy feet got them on their feet here at Great American Ballpark again. We'll show it to you one more time. This will go down as a triple. Swisher can't get to it. It's one hop onto the warning track. And Billy's off to the races, Chris.
Well, this ball just misplayed by Nick Swisher. I can't believe that he wasn't able to flag it down, but because he didn't, that enabled Homer Bailey to score. The cutoff man's about ready to get the throw right here, and Steve Smith's got his hand up, and he's holding Billy Hamilton. But Hamilton wavered off the bag at third, gets into a rundown, eventually makes the third out of the inning. He's picking up the third base coach right there, and I think that's when Smith has got the hold on him. But because he went around the bag too far, and the Indians, for some reason, went immediately cut 3 when Hamilton looked like he may be going to home. But as it turns out, you know what? Even when he makes it out,
amazing.
It's exciting.
It's amazing. Joe, look up. What was that? 8, 6, 5, 2. Play that number tomorrow. Yeah, he almost lapped Bailey. That was amazing. If he had kept running, he probably would have been about 15 feet behind Homer by the time he got to home plate. Well, the Reds get a run out of it.
How will it affect Homer now, having to score from first base? And having that play be the third out of the inning is the question. This is where conditioning comes into play. And Homer works hard at it. Shouldn't be a problem.
Here's T.J. House, the pitcher. As Chris told you, drafted by the Indians back in 2008. His given name is Glenn Anthony House Jr. His father nicknamed Tiger, so they call him Tiger Jr. That's where the TJ came from. All these initials are interesting. Everybody thinks it's a name. You never know. Game storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. The Reds held opponents at 10 hits or fewer in 12 straight games. That's the longest active streak in Major League Baseball. So you can struggle offensively when you pitch like that. You got a chance, huh?
Well, that is what really separates, I think, the Reds from this Indians ball club. They're both hovering right around the 500 mark. They're both still in the race, although they're hanging in the race. But the reason that you like the Reds' chances and like them a lot is because the fact that Brian Price runs out on a nightly basis, one of the best starting rotations in all the league, if not in all of baseball. I mean, you're looking at the Indians now. I mean, they've run out 9 or 10 different starting pitchers so far this year. It seems like everybody that they bring up, you know, it's their first or second go around here in the major leagues. The pitcher that pitched against the Reds last night, Danny Salazar, sent back to the minor leagues. In fact, if you look over the last 4 games in which the Reds have played, and they've done some damage offensively, except in the game that was pitched by the Indians' Corey Kluber. He is no doubt the ace of the staff. He shut the Reds down. They beat the Reds 7-1 up in Cleveland. But other than that, Danny Salazar, last night's pitcher, he got sent to the minor leagues. Josh Tomlin pitched against the Reds up there in Cleveland. He was called up from the minor leagues to pitch that game. Jacob Turner, remember him? He pitched against the Reds down in Miami. As soon as that game was over, they DFA'd him, designated him for assignment. He was picked up by the Cubs. So the Reds are taking advantage of some pitchers that they should take advantage of.
Swing and a miss. Kipnis retired. There's 2 away. And the other part of that is, you know, we remarked the other night, the first game of the series. Here's Homer getting the strikeout. The bottom dropped out of that one for his second strikeout. And that'll bring up David Murphy after Homer strikes out the first 2 in the inning. But the other part of that is Carrasco, who pitched the 4 innings and 58 pitches. He'll move into the rotation for the Indians in place of Salazar, who was sent down. So it was kind of an audition. I think they had a plan back then. We wondered why he was in for 4 innings. No balls, 1 strike.
This time around, it looks like Homer Bailey's got a lot better control of that split finger fastball. And the momentum of this ball game has been taken over by the Reds. They scored each of the first 2 frames. You got Homer striking out the pitcher to start the inning. The leadoff hitter Kipnis goes down on strikes, and Homer's got that little splitter working. And when he gets that thing working, and that's a pitch that you'll see, he throws about 86, 87 miles an hour and goes straight down. Worked for a long time to try to figure out a changeup that would fit into his arsenal properly. Worked on a circle change, a palm ball, a fosh. I mean, just tried just about everything there was. And when Justin Lear took him aside down in the minor leagues a few years ago, they said, why don't you try this little splitter? And it's worked nicely for him.
Murphy hit one right on the button his first time up, but Frazier turned it into a double play. This time he rifles it into right for a base hit. A 2-out hit, and that'll bring up Brantley, who doubled down the right field line his first time up. How many versions of the changeup did you tinker with?
A bunch of them. And they vary from year to year. I mean, sometimes you show up in camp and you think you got your changeup from the year before, and you found one that feels just a little bit better. It's the second 0-2 base hit that Homer's given up tonight. Out of the 3 hits he's given up, 2 of them have come on an 0-2 pitch.
That's a strike. Tries to check it, does he? That's a strike, 0-2.
The key to that split finger fastball, we're getting a little bit of a look inside his glove from that center field camera angle, is the fact that he throws it from the same arm slot with the same arm speed as he does his fastball. And it's indecipherable for a hitter most of the time, especially when you can back it up with 96-mile-an-hour cheese. So this count has gone fastball, splitter, waste pitch fastball. Brantley's thinking, well, I got to protect against the splitter, but also got to think about that 96-mile-an-hour heat.
Neither one could get on the same page, so they'll roll through the signs again.
Well, it's Homer's page. I don't think that he's at the point where he just throws exactly what Mesoraco wants. Homer wants the inside heat. Nice.
95. Strikes out 3 in the inning. It's 4 strikeouts on the night. The Reds still lead at 3-0.
I'm Jim Day. Let's talk about the Buses for Baseball program. Today, Fox Sports Ohio partnered with Fox Sports and the Players Trust to provide a great day at the ballpark for some youth of the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Cincinnati. And man, did these kids have a blast. There you see Fox Sports Ohio girl Christine. Some of the players came up and greeted them, signed autographs, took some pictures. And this was all part of the Buses for Baseball program. And thanks again to the Players Trust, which is a part of the Major League Baseball Players Association, for making this experience happen. They get free transportation, T-shirts, tickets, food vouchers, and for many, it's their first trip to a Major League Baseball park. And to date, over 15,000 children have had smiles on their face being here at the ballpark.
Thanks, JD. It was great to have a couple of former major leaguers, Phil Bradley and Bob Tewksbury, at the ballpark today as part of the Players Trust visit. Now, Tukes was a guy that he could work. He came up, he threw lower 90s, and when he lost his fastball, what do we end up with? A guy who had one of the best changeups in all of baseball.
Not kidding about that. I did not know he was here at the ballpark.
He was with the Red Sox, and this past year signed on with the Players Association as one of their advisors.
That takes the moniker Players Trust to a whole new level.
I'm with him every January. We do rookie development down at Lansdowne Convention Center in Virginia. It's a joint project from both the Major League Baseball Players Association and Major League Baseball, and we bring in some great guys. I mean, one of your great buddies who always says hello to you, Steve Rogers.
Side.
Yep. Guys like Dave Gallagher and outstanding guys, Tewksbury, people like that help the young players, the rookies, to be at the major league level, understand what it takes to be a successful major leaguer, not just on the field but off the field.
Are you saying the same thing with me with Todd Frazier? His commitment now to hit the ball the other way is a little bit more sincere, it looks like. I mean, he's really trying. That's that little slider that he likes to go to down and in. He got Bruce on a slider, and he gets Frazier on one.
I think you brought up a good point, too. I think the change in the bat, the heavier bat, is part of that, too. He's letting the bat do the work. Two strikeouts for House, 2 away, and here's Mesoraco. We got to get you down there for the rookie development program. You'd be great for those guys.
Yeah. Say that's in January?
Yep, second week of January.
In Virginia?
Yep.
Is there a way that you think that they could change the venue down maybe to Florida
Puerto
or Hawaii?
Rico?
I mean, I'm all in now.
There's not much golf in January in Virginia or Washington.
See if you run that by them and see what they say.
Oh, it's going to be a new commissioner. Maybe we can get it done if you put in a word. Watch ball, 1 strike to Mesoraco, struck out first time up. In fact, what we do? It's at where we have it. It's away from every place, so the guys can't go anywhere. They're locked up in the place. So we got them lock, stock, and barrel. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Three runs, 5 hits for the Reds. No runs, 3 hits for the Indians. Reds got 2 in the first, another in the second. Brewers won earlier today, 3-1 over San Francisco behind Willie Peralta. The Pirates and Miami are scoreless in the 4th. Red Sox and Cardinals just ready to get underway. I asked Devin, what was the best part of your experience at the All-Star game? And he talked about family and friends and everything, but he said it takes your breath away when you're standing on the first base or third base line and you get your name announced at the All-Star game. He said his heart was pounding out of his body. Swings and misses here, but the Reds still lead at 3-0. Miller time moment coming up later in the broadcast. Always one of the highlights of every night at the ballpark.
And we've talked about the two effective pitches that Homer Bailey's thrown tonight against left-handed hitters. That is fastball and that splitter, and we have done some work. And we're going to show you an example of that same arm slot that Homer Bailey will throw both of these pitches from, and why it's so hard for a hitter to decipher. On your left is a splitter, on your right is a fastball. Both of these are strike threes. The hitter on your left is Kipnis. He struck out in the third inning. For the second out of the inning, he swings right over the top of that. And the third out of the inning was Michael Brantley taking that inside fastball for strike three. So, boy, when you throw it like Bailey does, it is a very effective pitch. And there aren't all that many pitchers, really, that try to throw the splitter for a strike if the hitter decides to not swing at it. Bailey's got one that he can throw very effectively, and he can throw it for a strike, which makes him somewhat unique in that respect.
And you talked about different ways to throw a changeup. I mean, it's become more popularized in recent years that people use a splitter as a changeup. I mean, back in the old days, it was a power pitch. Are you in favor of that?
Well, you know, it really depends. I'm not in favor of young kids throwing splitters. Of course, the younger kids don't have hands big enough to get that ball in there enough. But I think the problem is, like anything else, you fall in love with it and you overthrow it. But if you take your fingers at home, you push your middle finger and your index finger apart, you feel your wrist get tight. And as soon as your wrist gets tight, you don't use your wrist enough, that strain goes to your elbow, and that's what usually happens with somebody who overuses the splitter. But when you're a major leaguer and you just need to get hitters out, you go ahead and use the splitter all you want. It served Bruce Sutter well enough to have him have a plaque in Cooperstown.
2 balls, 1 strike. And the first time you shook hands with Bruce Sutter, you realized why he could throw the split finger. His fingers are about twice as long as most folks. Strong hands, you know, and you're right. Your mechanics depend on your body too. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swing and a miss. He's got Santana. There's one away. You know, one of the greatest line every year at Cooperstown. This year was no different. You know, with Joe Torre and Bobby Cox getting in. Here's another look, Chris.
There's the grip, and we get a great look at it right there from our center field cam. And he throws it just like a fastball, but it comes almost out like a little screwball spin. And that spin helps that ball just drop right off the table, and it is working for him now. 3 of the last 4 hitters have make it 4 of the last 5 hitters have struck out. 3 of those have been on that splitter.
I guess running the bases didn't bother him, huh?
I think it just loosened him up a little bit.
5 strikeouts. Here's Gomes, who struck out. He was the first strikeout victim in the first. I remember Bruce Sutter's speech when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and he told a story about his first year. He didn't get along with his pitching coach. He was trying to change him, make him different, and called his dad, and the line his dad gave him was something that stayed with him for his whole life. This is a perfect game run by imperfect people, but never forget how perfect this game is. He fought through that, got him all the way to Cooperstown. You just hope as a young pitcher that you do run into somebody that can help tutor you and bring you through that period. You know, Homer's within 6 innings now of 1,000 innings for his career. That's a big milestone. 1,000 innings for your career.
Well, you know, you have so many different pitching coaches along the way that some seem to say it in words you understand. Some seem to deliver the message in a way that it doesn't sink. Doesn't sink in right. Well, he is dealing it right now, though.
A good example, you know, when Dick Pole was here, Dick's a tough love kind of guy, and they cross swords at times. Here's another look, Chris.
Well, again, we're going to that same pitch, and when it's working and he feels that good with it, why not? Well, it's funny because Dick Pole tried to get Homer Bailey early on to be a sinker slider type pitcher, kind of not use as many big curveballs. When Homer first came to the major leagues, he was right over the top of the four-seam fastball, big overhand curveball. And, you know, back when you're pitching against the kids in LaGrange, Texas, you're throwing 95 miles an hour, you're blowing everybody away. But all of a sudden in the major leagues, guys are just you know, they're seeing that pitch and they're getting on it a little bit. And I think what Homer is doing now is what Dick Pole was trying to get him to do a while ago. It just takes a while to evolve into that sometimes.
And are you ready for that message at that time? As a teenager or as a guy that's now an established major leaguer? And to this day, I mean, now he'll credit Dick for what he helped him do early in that career. Then they cross swords. Bouncer to short. Kozar takes care of 2 strikeouts and a weak ground ball. We're heading to the bottom of 4 in Cincinnati. The Reds lead at 3-0 behind Homer. Food Group. Let's create great dishes together. Buy Toyota. For over 30 Toyota offers, visit buyatoyota.com. And enjoy Boneless Thursdays at B-Dubs with specially priced boneless wings all day. What a steal. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, and sports. Great to have you with us in the Queen City. Pleasant day. A little bit overcast all day long. Kept the temperature down to very comfortable at the ballpark tonight. And the Reds comfortable in a 3-0 lead. 2 in the first, 1 in the second. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Reds. No runs, 3 hits for the Indians. Here's Ryan Ludwig. He singled in a run in the first inning. Six-game hitting streak for Ludwig, who's had a pretty good week. Started in Miami, where he had some key hits as the Reds took 3 of 4. Continued in Cleveland, and his base hit plated a run for his 33rd run batted into the season in the first. Reds need him to get on fire, don't they?
Well, they do. They need some production out of left field, and they haven't been able really to light on one player out there. It's been kind of a shift of, you know, somewhat of a platoon between Ryan Ludwig, Chris Heisey, Skip Schumacher, all interspersed a little bit here and there. And no one has really taken the opportunity and saying, this is my position. I'm going to put up the numbers that he's going to have to play me every day. And Brian Price has played little matchups too against pitchers where he feels like Ludwig will be the best guy, and he puts Ludwig in the ball game. Brian did not like that one.
That's 4 strikeouts for House. Ludwig retired, and here's Chris Negron.
That's the one thing I did hear about T.J. House, and he likes to stand up right-handers with that fastball, and it's a great message for young pitchers at home that this kid doesn't throw all that hard. I mean, he throws 90 miles an hour, which is hard if you're sitting at home when you're 12 years old, but you know, you've got to be able to pitch inside with a certain amount of confidence. and stand up those right-handed hitters a little bit. That makes the pitches that are on the outside corner so much more effective.
Negron hit a rocket down to third. Chisenhall turned it into an out in the first inning, 0 for 1. Reds and Fox Sports Ohio would like to wish a happy birthday to Dean Swingle of Wellston, Ohio. He's celebrating his 80th birthday today. Happy birthday, Dean. A liner past Santana into right. He continues to spray line drives both sides of the field, and Negron has another base hit.
Well, he's just hitting the ball hard. It really doesn't matter where. Hit a home run last night. He's already hit 2 line drives tonight, one to the left side, one to the right side, and good to see. You know, talked to Christopher before the ball game and said, all right, now what do you prefer, Chris or Christopher? He said, well, you know, it really doesn't matter. I mean, I'm just happy to be here and have people calling my name in a big league reference to a big league game. But if I had my choice, I would prefer Christopher. I said, well, tell me the story behind the spelling of your name. You spell it with a K and not a CHR, which is a little more common. He said, well, it's kind of in an honor to my mom, whose name was Kenya. She's from the Dominican Republic. Her name is spelled with a K, and that's why Christopher is spelled with a K.
And Jesse, as Paul Harvey would say, that's the rest of the story. Good job. House has it. I'll get the out at first for the second out of the inning. Monty Chisenhall was saying before the game, he went over to see Negron, and he said, you know, I'm happy with what I'm doing this year, but I'm happy that Chris is getting the accolades that he deserves. They played against each other at AAA and have known each other for a few years. He said, you know, if it wasn't for the injury, I think he would be up here a lot sooner. I mean, a lot of people thought his career might have been over.
You're right.
Hey, by the way, now it's time for you to tweet your photo using hashtag #OhioFanPhoto for a chance to have it shown at an upcoming game broadcast brought to you by AT&T. So Cozart's coming to the plate. Callaway out on the mound to confer with his left-hander. Bailey is due up next. They don't want what happened last night to happen tonight, Chris. They had the pitcher due up next, and they pitched to Cozart, gave him a fastball. The end result, a 3-run home run and a 3-0 Reds lead.
Actually, I think if it was a fastball, they probably would not have been as angry at Salazar and Yan Gomes. He was throwing fastballs right by everybody in the Reds lineup, and he just threw a nothing little spitter slider, and that's what Cozart jumped on.
Not this time. Popped up into right. Murphy calling under it. Got it. That'll do it. Reds get a hit. Nothing to show for it. They still lead at 3-0 as we head to the 5th. A Miller time moment coming up later in the broadcast. Memories from Homer, Chris. We talked about it earlier. 2007, his rookie year. His first win. How about this? Against the Cleveland Indians. First two starts were against first place teams. The Indians were one of those first place teams at that time. And he got, the pie in the face routine. A day to remember. And a day that the Reds look back on as the start of a long growth process that has gotten him to here, 2014, and now 3 innings away from his 1,000th career inning as a major leaguer.
Well, Georgie, you mentioned it last night with regard to Matt Latos and how it compared to Johnny Cueto, that there's a certain amount of internal competition going on in his pitching staff, and Homer Bailey's right in the middle of that. Now, he's been rewarded already with a big-time long-term contract. Not sure yet how that's going to play out with Cueto or Latos, but he wants to earn that money. He wants to show everybody that he can be a #1 as well, and that's a great and very healthy thing for a pitching staff to have, is that type of internal competition. Don't leave out Mike Leake or Alfredo Simon in that. But I think especially Homer Bailey, because he's got the same type of stuff as far as fastball as Bailey or as Cueto and Latos.
The shift. Negron has it. Swisher retired. 1 away here in the 5th. You remember different things, different times. What I'll remember most about that night, the first start for Homer Bailey here against the Indians. Just before the game, I'm walking down past the clubhouse, and the team is out taking batting. Usually the starting pitcher's in the clubhouse taking it easy, either taking a nap, getting something to eat, or whatever. And Mark Berry, outstanding catching coach, outstanding third base coach and bench coach with the Reds, came walking through the clubhouse, and here's Homer Bailey taking off his uniform and putting on his jeans and a shirt. And Berry came running out saying, "What happened? Is he leaving?" As it turns out, that was his routine.
Yeah.
He'd take his uni off and put his jeans on, put his shirt on, be comfortable for an hour or so.
Don't forget the Bowie knife on his belt.
That's right.
Of course, I don't think that goes anymore with the kind of security that's going around. But when he first came up, I mean, looked like he was ready to skin some roadkill.
I mean, Bear really thought he was leaving. Jose Ramirez at the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. Fouled off 1 and 2.
Yeah, I really do think, you look back on Homer's start, and he was a much heralded #1 draft pick coming up, and everybody couldn't wait for Homer Bailey to finally be promoted to the major leagues. And he really did a great job that first time against the Indians. But the fact remains, it seemed like that the Reds were very unfair to Homer Bailey, that every time they brought him up to pitch a game, it was almost a circus atmosphere.
Yep. He got a glove on it and got the out. Oh, it's bobbled by Frazier, and he's going to be safe. Is he okay? Did that hit just glove, or did it graze him? He said, "I'm all right, stay in there." He tells Paul Lassard to stay in there. It'll go as an error on Frazier, but in a year where the Reds, of course, already have been scared straight with a line drive that went off of Aroldis Chapman, this looked like it might have grazed the side of his face and went to his glove. Neck, maybe? And he still made the play. I think Frazier's worried about him, and he started to run to the mound and then tried to come back. What presence by Homer.
Well, you're not kidding.
Wow.
I'm not so sure he got a glove on that at all. He just got it off his upper head area.
Now he knows what a prize fighter feels like.
Like shaking off a haymaker.
Yeah. And the tough Texan hangs in there. Runner on first, showing bunt is the pitcher House. So it goes an error on Frazier. I think Frazier was startled, and he started to go towards the mound, and by the time he got back, he's looking at Bailey and trying to get his foot back on the bag too. And the result is an error on Todd, and Ramirez is on. We've seen enough of those this year, huh? Showing bunt again.
TJ House has the odd combination of being a right-handed hitter and a left-handed thrower. You don't see that very often.
Ricky
Denorpia?
Henderson.
I know Ricky's last name.
It goes wide.
Brian Ludwig, same way, left-handed thrower, right-handed hitter. I think Ricky's in the category. He just needs one name.
That's right. Like Lefty.
Like Pete.
Yep.
Junior.
That'll go as a sacrifice. Oh, rather went foul. They'll try it again.
They will try it again. It was strike three.
Strike three. Well, so far, American League pitchers, let's see, 0 for 9, 0 for 10, 0 for 11, 0 for 11, 0 for 12 now in interleague play against the Reds. And Ramirez still at first after reaching on the error. Homer keeps moving his neck and opening his mouth as if it looked like the worst that he got was right maybe on in the jaw area. No balls, one strike. Scariest moment for you in a line drive back at you?
I put my glove up and then saw the center fielder catch it.
Quick reaction.
Yeah.
Was that Dawson?
I thought I had
Was
it.
that Hawk?
In fact, I checked my glove to make sure there wasn't a hole in it because I was convinced that I caught that ball.
One ball, one strike. Runner not going. Hopped into left center. Long run, Hamilton. Boy, does he run like a gazelle. He tracks it down, went a long way forward. And the Reds will hold on to a 3-0 lead. Day live page. Hal also has a profile of Reds Hall of Famer inductee Ronnie Ostrie. Calls him one of his favorite Reds ever. And the Blue Jackets TV schedule has been released. Fox Sports Ohio will be televising 81 of the 82 games. Get complete coverage of all of today's action involving Ohio sports on foxsportsohio.com. Brought to you by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. Drive safe, spend less. Fox Sports Ohio also, of course, covers the Cleveland Cavaliers. Looks like they're getting closer and closer to what looks like a pretty good team, Chris.
Yeah, didn't they get a new player this year, the Cavaliers? I saw something on the wire.
LeBron who? Like Ricky.
Welcome home.
You only need the first name, right?
That's right. That's it. You know what? Another one-name athlete.
Gipnis makes the play, and Bailey's okay. One away. There comes Billy. He's had them on their feet already. The man with the happy feet reached on a base hit. Off and running on a base hit by Bruce to the left side against the shift. Wound up going to third, sliding in as they tried to throw him out at third. Ball got away. He scored. Reds led 1-0. Then he tripled in the second with Homer Bailey on first. He almost lapped Bailey. He slammed on the brakes between third and home, caught in a rundown and tagged out.
You know how guys are on their way to getting the cycle, and they say, well, he's the hardest hit away from the cycle, the triple. But for Hamilton, I don't think that may be the hardest one.
Yeah.
So he's got that in the book.
Like Willie Wilson in the days at Kansas City with the turf and the nooks and crannies. I mean, he'd lead the league in triples every year.
Yep.
So Willie didn't hit too many homers. 2 balls, 1 strike. Interesting, Chris. I think we both believe he's going to be a better bunter. I mean, he's a good bunter now, but he's going to be even better. And there's a pop up to the right side. Interesting that already in that Baseball America survey, Ian D. Gordon, it's dropped, and he's going to be on. Another miscue by the Indians, and of all the people you don't want to allow to get on base, it's Billy Hamilton. Tito's seen it all this year.
Almost enough to make you swallow your jaw. Boy, he did everything right except catch the ball.
So Billy's on.
A big leaguer just did that. Can you believe that?
See if he's off and running.
I wonder, though, George, you know, in all fairness, if he was really off and running, he'd probably be standing on second base right now.
Well, he would be. Had that base stolen easily, but fouled off by Bruce.
Well, the miscues, but the Indians in this entire series, back in Cleveland and here, even the ones tonight, the misplay by Nick Swisher in left field on the ball that Billy Hamilton was awarded a triple on. That was a play that should have been made. The misplay at third base on the throw from Santana to Chisenhall that ended up scoring Homer Bailey and Billy Hamilton in the first inning.
Is that a Maalox chew he's putting in?
There's not enough Maalox in this city for Terry Francona right now.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Somehow to get through days like this and stretches like this, Terry Francona has been one of the more positive managers you could have, and he's been able to do that. Oh, did he go? Yes, says Phil Cuzzy. Bruce doesn't think so, but that'll go down as a strikeout and out number 2.
You know, this is the pitch that you get rung up on the most, the inside pitch, because you turn with your whole body. you don't necessarily make an attempt to hit the ball, but it appears that way as that ball goes out beyond the plate. But you don't see the guys rung up as much on outside pitches where they check swing as inside pitches, because you're on the inside pitches, you're rotating your body in order to get out of the way of the baseball, and that brings the bat around.
Here's Frazier, lined out, struck out 0 for 2.
That was a fake throw by Yan Gomes. He really didn't want to throw it down to first base.
One ball, no strikes. One of the great lines that Tommy Lasorda always had. Remember when Steve Sachs had the yips, the problems throwing the ball to first? And he's doing a pregame pep talk to Pedro Guerrero, and he says, Pedro, what are you thinking when the ball's delivered? He said, I'm thinking, don't hit the ball to Sachs. They got him picked. But sooner or later it paid off, and they tag him out. So Billy's caught in a rundown twice on this day. Speed giveth, speed taketh. Reds still lead 3-0. Reds Hall of Fame class of 2014. Ken Griffey Jr., Dave Parker, Ron Oster, and the late Jake Pepley. Plus, all fans in attendance will receive a free commemorative print thanks to P&G and Kroger. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Hope you have a chance to come down and join the Reds and the Reds family for the special Hall of Fame weekend. It's great at Cooperstown, but boy, if you're a Reds fan, this is even greater. There'll be over 20 Hall of Famers here tomorrow. There'll be meet and greets at the ballpark Friday and Saturday, and then the big gala on Sunday. And what a special weekend for Ken Griffey Jr., for Ronnie Oster, for Dave Parker. And one of my favorite people too, Chris, Chuck Harmon's going to be honored at the gala on Sunday. And you know what you say about him, you could talk about, you know, the fact that he was the first black player ever to play for the Reds. But what's more important is what's happened since then to today. He's one of the most remarkable human beings that you and I have ever had the chance to be around.
You're not kidding about that.
Oh, he always has a smile. He's always positive.
Lights people up around him.
Man, what a great teammate. As a person, not just on a team, but for this community. 2-1. His family is just basked in that same aura, and they share it with all of us. Now, we're talking about Devin Mesoraco and his feeling of elation when his name was announced in the introduction of the All-Star game. Chris Sable will be here, and Sabe still says that's a moment that was like electricity going through his body in 1988 at the All-Star game. The building was shaking. I mean, Barry Larkin got a great ovation. Danny Jackson was on that All-Star team too. But when Sabes got up as a rookie, it just started to build. Amazing. You'll have some fun with him on Sunday night. Three balls, two strikes for David Murphy. Got him out in front. He pops it up. Hamilton there. Got it. One away.
Want to send out a birthday wish to Millie Miller. A day late. Sorry, Millie, we missed you yesterday. She is the first lady of Middletown and also Segman's mother-in-law. So we wish you a happy 87th birthday today, Millie, for your birthday yesterday.
All right, Millie. Segman's the best. Somehow he squeezes in some baseball in between NASCAR.
That's a good way to put it. Squeezes in.
Here's Michael Brantley, doubled and struck out. 1 for 2. Hit hard down to second. Scooped by Negron. 2 away. The Reds fan cam is back Friday at the Holy Grail when the Reds host the Marlins. It's your chance to answer Reds trivia with great prizes and maybe be part of the Reds live post-game show. Join us Friday at 6. Be part of all the fun. By the way, in case you missed it, we've been talking about it the last couple of nights. In addition to Griffey, Parker, and Oster, Johnny Bench is going to be here. Jack Bellingham, Tom Browning, Leo Cardenas, Clay Carroll, Eric Davis, George Foster, the Chief, Cesar Geronimo, Wayne Granger. Senior's going to be here. Tommy Helms, Jim Maloney, Lee May, Joe Morgan, Gary Nolan, Jim O'Toole, Tony Perez, Sabes, and Mario Soto.
You know, I'm looking forward to seeing Lee May.
Yep. So is everybody else.
I'm down there in the fantasy camp. I know that he's probably got a whole list of things to correct me on when I'm talking about hitting up here in the booth. That guy knows hitting, and I don't. So I need the coach to correct me on a few things.
Now you're just trying to disarm him because you know he's sitting home watching.
He's probably taking notes.
Does he light up a room? Or
oh
what?
my goodness, love Lee May.
Talk about a comedy act. They could go to Vegas. Him and Tony, when they all get together and they start going at each other.
Billingham in there too.
Yeah. What you ought to do is tape some of those banquets from fantasy camp, and you could have a series of shows that would be big time. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Santana.
Well, might have to be called the bleep banquet because of all the bleeps that we'd have to put in there. They're a lot of fun.
Oh boy. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Just missing inside. When Tim Brosnan from Major League Baseball was here yesterday to unveil the All-Star logo, he made it very clear that what the Reds do here to honor their history and tradition is an example for every Major League team. I think what Bob Castellini and the Williams brothers have done is bring not just history and tradition back, but the honor of these players and the glory of Reds tradition to a brand new ballpark and a brand new set of fans. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Against the shift, Santana drills it, but it's right at Negron. The shift works for the Reds here. 1, 2, 3 for Bailey. How about Homer? Leading 3-0. Charlotte Bushelman of Fairfield, Ohio will win this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by visiting your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Great to have you with us. George Grand, Chris Welsh, Jim Day, keeping you up to date down by the Reds dugout. Great to have Joel Luckup with us. Mr. Lucky helping us statistically in the booth. Jesse Jackson here. Jim Strickler, we woke him up in between the innings. Strick, thanks. And the best baseball crew in baseball. There's Frazier, 0 for 2 down in the truck. Josh Hall is our producer. Good to have Bob Pennell in the chair. BP getting a groove on again as our director tonight. Matt Sigafus, Lauren White, and our whole crew. Our executive producer Tom Farmer also down as the Indians play the Reds. By the way, interesting, and here's the 2-1 to Frazier. Inside, the Indians announced today, Chris, up in Cleveland, that they're going to have a $23 million renovation to Progressive Field, which will open up that whole right field line and will completely reconfigure the bullpens.
You mean for $23 million, you put some chicken wire up so the ball doesn't go back out on the field?
Well, there are two parts.
I'd like to get that contract.
After what happened in Cleveland with the bullpen ball coming on the field, two parts of the story. Terry Francona did talk to the operations people back in Cleveland. They say when we get home, put a higher fence there. But number two, when we go up there, and this will be in place by next year. Here's House from the windup. Mesoraco fouls it off. That whole right field area, the two bullpens are going to be together like Philadelphia, one on top of the other. So it'll be a complete rework. Right field, there'll be an open concourse, and the bullpens will be jammed in one spot. Well, we can always say it was because of what happened in our series. Mesoraco, 2 strikeouts. He nails this one. Did he get enough? Brantley, warning track. Wall, got it. He gave that one a big time ride. Catch Fox Sports Ohio's coverage of the Reds during the 2014 season with MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service celebrating 12 years. Watch every out-of-market game live in true HD on over 400 devices. Visit Reds.com for details. There's Ludwig, singled in a run in the first, struck out looking in the fourth in a call that he contested. Or if you joined us late, Reds scored in the first. Billy Hamilton singled, and when Jay Bruce hit one to the left side against the shift, he went all the way to third. And when they tried to throw behind him, the ball got away from Chisenhall, and he scampered home with the Reds' first run, 1-0. Then after a line drive out and a strikeout, Ludwig singled in Bruce, and it was 2-0 Reds. The other Reds run came in the second with 2 outs. Bailey singled, and then Hamilton tripled. And he might have had an inside the park homer, but he slammed on the brakes, tried to go back to third. They got him in a rundown and tagged him out. But Bailey scored. That made it 3-0, and that's where we are. In the air to right, Murphy's there. He's got it. 2 away. C.C. Lee is up and throwing in the bullpen for the Indians as we reach the bottom of 6 here. Here's DeGrom. He bounced to third and singled to right. There goes the runner. Here comes the throw. Going to be safe.
ball, either the ball or the sliding Todd Frazier ended up hitting Kipnis. Looks like he's injured, but he really doesn't want any attention out there. Well, that's one of those dangerous plays. In fact, that's very similar to the play where Zach Cozart ended up injuring his elbow to the point where he needed Tommy John surgery on his glove arm on a play very similar to that. Ball gets there at the same time the runner does. You see that happen sometimes on a ball down the first baseline.
Stolen rate for Frazier is 17, so he's heading towards a 20-20 year. He's already got 20 homers. You know, we joke a lot that you couldn't have given the number 21 to anybody better than Todd Frazier. You know, very similar to Sean Casey in their personality, the way they play the game. And when you look at Negron at the plate, kind of reminds you of Aaron Boone too, doesn't he? Likes a high fastball. Wearing Boone's old number is 17. Two. Line drive, right field. That's going to drop for a hit. Here comes Frazier. The stolen base pays off, and Negron cashes it in. 9 runs batted in. Another 2-hit game. He had 3 hits last night. 2 more here tonight. He's taking advantage of this opportunity.
Well, when you spray the ball around on a line like Christopher Negron has done since he's been called up and getting some playing time, there are a lot of hits in that bat. This time it's a breaking ball. He just kind of inside outs that pitch and hits it. I'll tell you, he doesn't scoop the ball when he hits that ball to right field. He's got a nice bat path.
If you're watching at home, Lee may bring that up to Chris when you see him this weekend. Nice bat path.
Ask. You're going to ask me to explain what that is. I'll have looked it up between now and then.
He's going to get you. He's going to get you. Here's Santiago, bounce back to the pitcher twice over 2. House over 80 pitches now. You figure this will probably be his final inning. Short lead for Negron. Right field. Murphy's got it measured. In front of the warning track, he'll squeeze it, but Chris Negron delivers again. A run batted in makes it 4-0 Cincinnati. To the 7th we go. Yan Gomes will lead it off. Did some business early. Hamilton led off with a base hit. This ball by Bruce goes to the left side. And by the time they throw back behind Billy, the ball goes past him into the seats. Hamilton scores. Bruce goes to third, and then Ludwig delivered him with a base hit to left. 2-0 Reds in the first inning. became 3-0 in the second after Bailey got a base hit. Watch Billy run. It gets past Swisher. He ends up with a triple, and he rounds third. Maybe could have scored up for an inside to Parker. As it was, they got him back at third in a rundown. And then Chris Negron delivered the base hit after a walk and a steal by Frazier, and the Reds lead it 4-0. That's your scoreboard story for the Reds offensively. While all that's going on, Chris, how about big Homer?
Yeah, zeros on the board, 6 of them right now for Homer. This is very similar to how Homer pitched his last couple of times out. I mean, he has been lights out. We've chronicled before how he gets better seemingly as the season goes on, especially lifetime in the month of August. Last time out, 7 innings of 1-run baseball, 3 hits against Miami. Before that, 8 innings, 5 hits, 1 run against Arizona.
His last 6 starts, he's only 1-1, but an ERA of 1.88. That's how good he's pitched. Low bridge Gomes with that one. 2 balls, no strikes. Gomes, who came in 2 for 2 against him, is 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts. Homer on the night thus far, 7 strikeouts. Hit hard. Negron can't get this one. It's a base hit.
Well, that guy's got a nice swing.
You're not kidding.
I mean, the pitch after being low bridged, I mean, he stays right in there, puts a solid part of the bat on it, and takes a line drive to right field. I mean, look how committed as he is to keeping his head on the ball right there.
Good looking player. Gomes delivers a leadoff hit here in the 7th. Here comes Chisenhall. 2 ground ball outs, 1 to second, 1 to short. And if you talk to Gomes and ask him about his evolution both behind the plate and at the plate, he'll point to the guy who's about 15 feet from him right now, Sandy Alomar Jr. Alomar, outstanding major league catcher, 7-time All-Star, has really taken him under his wing. What a presence for that guy. He's in the first base box. Mike Sarbaugh, the 3-time manager at Columbus, is over in the third base coach's box. Ball and a strike. Pirates lead Miami 5-0. They're now in the 6th. Cardinals lead the Red Sox 3-0 in the 2nd. Milwaukee's already won earlier today, 3-1 over San Francisco. Willie Peralta got the win. The Reds trying to keep pace and stay 4 games back. At this moment, they're 4.5 back of the Brewers. As Homer is preparing to deliver his 90th pitch of the night. And a superlative night for Homer, but also a taxing night. He had to go from first to home to score, and he also, weren't with us, took a line drive that glanced off a glove and looked like it hit him in the cheek, the jaw, or the upper neck area, and he stayed in the game in spite of it. Big swing, 3-2. Jumbo Diaz and Manny Parra both loosening in the bullpen for the Reds. Swing and a miss, he got it. Great bounce back by Homer.
Well, Homer's getting a whole bunch of them tonight, but we're going to call this one our Cholula flamethrower strikeout. A fastball that Homer fires up there at 95 miles an hour. He's been sitting around 95 all night long, and that, of course, is brought to you by Cholula hot sauce.
By the way, did you ever get that hot sauce delivery?
No, somehow it disappeared in the office.
I remember that.
Delivered, yeah.
Never got a second delivery.
Mean, there's nobody who works for Fox who's a bigger fan of Cholula than me. But I buy it because it's worth buying.
It's good stuff, especially in your coffee in the morning.
Or in your coffee in the evening, being a wise guy.
Here's Swisher, line drive out, ground ball out. Here's the 0-1. Why did you look at Jesse when you said the box disappeared? Strick, what do you think?
It disappeared along with that rack of ribs.
No balls, 2 strikes to Nick Swisher. One away, Reds double play depth. That kicks away, will go all the way to the backstop, and the runner goes to second. The double play possibility erased. It's a wild pitch charged against Bailey.
Yeah, there might be some people sitting back and don't think, well, why would be one would be a wild pitch and why would be one be a pass ball? Wild pitch normally something that's in the dirt that the catcher can't control. A pass ball is something that did not hit the dirt that he should have gloved. And the difference would be if that run comes around to score, one would be an earned run. The wild pitch, the pass ball, would be an unearned run.
Swisher pops it up, foul territory. Santiago there, and he's got it. And don't forget, get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before the start of every game with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing on your exclusive home for the Reds, Fox Sports Ohio. Great to have our pregame crew on the scene for this big weekend. And Dreamweaver, as always, will be on top of things. Ron Millenor, Rob Overberg, Matt Coiner was already on the scene yesterday at the news conference announcing the All-Star logo unveiling, along with Rufus, Ron Millenor. And of course the guys will be there to keep you up to date all weekend long, and also on Reds Weekly. Ramirez lined to third and reached on the error. It was Ramirez's line drive that went right back at Bailey. Waved the glove at it, and I don't even know if it hit the glove, but it certainly hit Homer, either in the neck or the chin or the jaw. He fell to the ground, and while on the ground tried to throw him out. He had the presence to still make a play, and Frazier was starting to run over to make sure Bailey was okay and tried to get back to the bag, bobble the ball, and Ramirez reached on the error charge to Frazier. The 2-out runner at second and a 1-1 count.
You know, it looks fast on TV in real time, as we were showing you right there. But until you get one hit you back, you don't realize how fast that is. I mean, if a hitter has approximately 1/5 of a second to determine when he sees a ball coming out of a pitcher's hand whether he's going to swing or not, that ball is usually coming back faster than it is thrown in there. That ball probably coming back in excess of 100 miles an hour.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Ramirez. The Reds have already had their hearts in their mouth once in spring training when Aroldis Chapman was felled by a line drive. A scary moment again, but Homer's hung in there since then. That was back in the 5th inning, and he's still dealing here in the 7th. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Sitting on 8 strikeouts. Slap foul the other way. Those of you that might not have been with us, you know, Asdrubal Cabrera traded from the Indians to the Washington Nationals, where he's playing second. That's opened the door for Ramirez to get a chance to show what he could do at short. Did he go? He holds 2-2. We talked a lot tonight about the electricity of Billy Hamilton, and the Indians are hopeful of getting Michael Bourne back maybe next week. He's been the trigger to their offense, and with the hamstring troubles that he's had, his time on the DL, that's been part of the story that short-circuited their offense this year. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And we'll go full. And the other guy they really miss, even though he's with the club and he's an inspirational leader, is Jason Giambi. And he's such a big force every place he's been. But on this club, I mean, his walk-off hits is, I mean, Terry Francona calls him not just an assistant coach, but our spiritual leader. And they miss his presence in the lineup. He most likely will retire at the end of the year, and probably will end up being a coach, and a good one. 3-2. Frazier backhands Bailey there, got it.
Nice play.
A dandy, a leadoff hit, nothing to show for it. Homer buckles down. Kozar will lead it off as we go to the bottom of 7.
Michael Brantley and the Indians in the Bronx, followed by the Cardinals taking on the Orioles. Coverage begins Saturday at 12:30 Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. I'm Jim Day. Way back in year 2000, when I came back to Ohio after working in Florida, one of the first things I did in Cincinnati was go to the site of Crosley Field, and I expected to see something to stand out to say that Crosley Field was here. Well, there was nothing there except inside some old warehouse buildings. That is about to change, though. The City Gospel Mission and the Reds Hall of Fame have announced that they have signed a memorandum of understanding for a joint project to create a Crosley Field historical site. 2 buildings are under construction right now on what was the site of Crosley Field. 1912 to 1970 it hosted the Reds, and man, there's some good players that played in that ballpark. They hope to move in by 2015 as Zach Cozart is going to third on a triple, and Howie looking, he is safe. Crosley Field hosted the 1938-1953 All-Star games. I am glad to see that they're going to do something to signify where that ballpark stood.
Good point, JD. Here's Zach. A Zach attack last night. A big home run, and here a rifle triple all the way to the wall that Brantley finally tracks down. So the runner is on to start this 7th inning. And with Cozart, the number 8 hitter, tripling, Bailey due up. Bailey's day is done, so Homer will exit. Terry Francona's out to pat the young man TJ House on the back. There'll be a pitching change for the Indians as well. While the pitching change takes place, it's time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Tonight's fan photo of the game brought to you by AT&T. Good looking red couple. Thanks, Ellen.
Ellen Niehaus.
I wonder if it's related to Jenny. Pretty good night for that young man, Chris.
Not bad. I mean, he's probably wondering what could have been had they played even a little bit of defense behind him. But he will commiserate with a lot of other Indians pitchers on that particular subject. C.C. Lee in for the 16th time this year. 27-year-old right-hander that the Indians signed as a 22-year-old. He's been in the minor leagues most of the time. He's been with the Indians organization. 1 pitch, 1 out with a man at third.
This Heisey pinch hitting for Bailey. First pitch at the drawn-in infield. The first out of the inning, still sitting at third, is Cozart.
Lee has been solely a reliever. Signed at 22, went to A-ball there, and then quickly went to Double-A and Triple-A. That's where he's really spent most of his time ever since 2010 when he got up into the Double-A level.
Here's Billy with the infield pulled in. Hamilton singled, tripled, reached on an error. He ignited the Reds' rally in the first, scoring the first run. In the second, his triple plated Bailey, and then he was caught in a rundown between home and third. And popped out to Santana at first, but Santana dropped the ball. He was safe at first, and then picked off by House, the pitcher. Caught in a rundown. Two and one. go 3-1. Get to see Eric Davis this weekend, Chris, and remember one of the more impressive things that Eric said about Billy Hamilton when I talked to him this past year. I said, tell me about Billy. He said, I just hope that he understands that bunting is just a small part of his game, that he can hit. Don't ever forget that. Don't make it the only part of your game because you're a speedster. Understand that you can drive the ball. It's a good message from a guy who had the complete package.
It's a good point right there. I can't wait to see Eric Davis and what he'll be wearing. Because very few of the Reds alumni can outdress Eric Davis. I can tell you that.
No chance. No chance. 3-2 to Hamilton.
That's a good pitch.
Great breaking ball. Got him looking.
Go backdoor side armor.
Here comes Jay Bruce. He singled in the first, and that resulted in the Reds' run that scored. Not on a run batted in, as it was an error trying to throw the ball behind Hamilton down at third. And he bounced to first and struck out last time up. So 1 for 3 for Jay. A little giddy up on this arm.
You're not kidding about that. I'm not so sure why this guy spent so much time in the minor leagues. He was only up for 8 games last year. Here he is in his 16th game this year.
Slapped the other way, 0-2.
He's come in a pretty tough situation here, and he's almost wiggled his way completely out of it. Man on third, nobody out. A 1-pitch ground out by Chris Heisey, a strikeout on a real nice backdoor breaking ball to Billy Hamilton, and now he's 0-2 to Jay Bruce.
Breaking ball did it again. 2 strikeouts for Lee. He slams the door. The Reds still clinging to a 4-0 lead as we head to the 8th. Pitch by pitch, and let's zero in on the big guy, Chris.
Well, that would be Homer Bailey tonight, and he had his splitter working, as you see right there. Left-handed hitter swinging over the top of it all night long, and when it looks like a fastball but isn't a fastball, that's the kind of swings you get. But he also mixed in some fastballs for outs too. But he was in control all night long. Homer Bailey, 7 innings of shutout, 4-hit baseball. Struck out 8, and you know, this guy has just outdone himself. We talked about the last 2 starts he had against the Diamondbacks and then the Marlins back-to-back, 1-run outings. Did not give up any tonight, and he continues this dominant pitching that the Reds send out there. They had a little bump in the road there with Alfredo Simon his last time out, but beyond that, the Reds pitching has been lights out, and that's got to give Brian Price a lot of confidence going forward when you run that kind of starting out there.
So coming into today, Homer in his last 6 starts had a 1.88 earned run average. That earned run average dips down to about the 1.5 mark. And he, barring any unforeseen circumstances, should finally win his second in that 7-start string. Here's Manny Parra, who will take over as we head to the top of the 8th inning. He'll face Mike Aviles, who came in at short in the double switch. Aviles very versatile, play the outfield, play the infield. He's hitting in the 9th spot in the order. Let's see C. Lee coming in for Ramirez in the 8th spot. And you mentioned how effective the Reds starting pitching has been. I think one of the keys to getting the bullpen where it needs to be, Chris, in his final 2 months, the guy on the mound is one of those keys.
Well, maybe getting him some work, but you know, he's had a couple of different setbacks this year, Parra has, and they've kind of worked around him. They've had the type of situation where they've got such strong starting pitching that they haven't really needed Manny Parra as a left-handed only one-guy pitcher. In fact, in the last 42 games, he's made only 7 appearances. He's pitched a total of 4 innings in the last 42 games that the Reds have played. In fact, he's only thrown 67 pitches over that period of time. So that's a good gig if you can get it.
Back problems sidetracked him for a while. He feels he's back. You know, he's back where he needs to be with his back. But then it's just a question, when you don't pitch that much, is getting your mechanics back, getting into the groove.
Yeah, let me even put that in more perspective. You know, Curtis Parks just spent 9 days on the roster during that period of time, and he has thrown 1 less pitch over that period of time than Manny Parra has.
Broken bat into center field, a base hit. He left that one up. Aviles makes him pay. That's a base hit to center. Jonathan Broxton has started to loosen in the bullpen, so you would figure that the equation is, if needed, Broxton still available for 8, and if needed, Chapman in 9.
Yeah, but yeah, I think what the point, and you made it was a great one, is that you're trying to get the rust off of Manny Parra. You know that you're going to need him at some point down the stretch. You're going to play a team with almost as many lefties as they do here in Cleveland, although they've got more than anybody. And you're going to need Parra to come in, and you just can't bring him into a really tight situation without giving him some time to lube up that arm.
Here's Kipnis. Single, struck out, flied out.
You know, Parra had to look ahead and see the Indians on the schedule and knowing what the roster is. Right. And he's thinking, man, 4 games in a row against the Indians. They only have 1 right-handed hitter in the entire lineup. I'm probably going to pitch 4 days in a row. But the starting pitching has been so good, they haven't had to really use anybody but. First time in this series for Manny.
Showing bunt, fouls it off, 0-2. Not a sacrifice bunt for a base hit there was Kipnis. And in each game in this series, the Indians have had anywhere from 6 to 8 left-handed bats in the lineup. That's what you want from them.
That's what you want from all your guys. Good breaking ball right there. You know, when a guy attempts to lay down a bunt, when you're down by 4 runs, on the second pitch you throw him, you get the feeling he's not really comfortable in there. And he showed it with that third swing.
1 out, 1 on. Here's Murphy. There goes the runner. Here comes the throw. It will not be in time. Stolen base for Aviles. At a 3-step break, no chance for Mesoraco as Avila steals his 11th base of the season. Murphy tonight bounced into a 3-6 double play, single to right, fly to center. There's a 1-0. The starting pitching can be such a bonus, especially when you're trying to get your bullpen straightened out. For the Reds, it's really been a boon. If the Reds had not had the starting pitching they've had, they would have had to probably make a move or two, but they've been able to try to work their way through some injuries and some subpar performances because the starting pitching has been so spectacular. Ball, 2 strikes. I think I'm at a Neil Diamond concert, Chris. We got a light wave going on.
The light wave.
Hold on your hard light.
Looking around the ballpark, everybody's whipping out their cell phone, putting on their little flashlights.
Do it while the opposition's hitting.
Do it while you have battery in your phone still.
Fouled off. Stays 2-2. It's a Firefly night. That's better than the regular wave. Would you take this over the regular wave?
I kind of like the wave, George. You know, maybe there's a way to combine them.
You say you want to concentrate on your pitcher, but Murphy stepped out, shook his head a little bit. What can you do? 2 balls, 2 strikes. Dribbled in front of the plate. Manny has it. They'll get the out. That's out number 2. Hey, see your Redlegs take on the Marlins this Friday during the Hall of Fame lunch induction weekend. After the game, stick around for a special on-field ceremony honoring more than 20 Reds legends and the post-game fireworks show presented by Cooper Tires. For tickets to what is always a great weekend, and this should be one of the most spectacular, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Best fireworks in baseball on a regular basis. I mean, some of the 4th of July fireworks displays don't compare to what the Reds fans get every Friday night.
Oh, you are so right about that.
And it gives you a chance to get out of town too before everybody leaves. They do that specifically for you.
I enjoy those fireworks.
They never get tired, do they?
In the rearview mirror, especially.
Yep.
But you know, the Cincinnati fans don't realize that this is kind of the proving ground for the Rossi fireworks. Anytime they've got something new they want to try out, they use this area down here Friday nights at Reds games to kind of see how they work, and that's why we're getting all the great prototypes before anybody else gets to see them.
It's a great point because they're not just the normal things you see at every 4th of July fire. You get some things you've never seen before. 1 strike to Brantley, who's 1 for 3, a double. Looped into left. Short left field. Cozart will glove it. That'll do it. So a leadoff hit, and then Parr gets out of trouble. We're heading to the bottom of 8. Frazier will lead it off. Reds 4-0. The first interviews with Brian Price and the players. Reds Live brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. And as always is the case, we will be there for the post-game story tonight. Hopefully it's a smiling scoreboard for the Reds. Right now it's a smiling board. The Reds lead it by a score of 4-0 as we go to the bottom of 8. Frazier, Mesoraco, and Ludwig due up. Joe Luckup has always done great research for us, Chris, and we figured out where C.C. Lee came from. What'd you say, Lucky? C.C. came from Sabathia.
Okay.
Lee came from Cliff Lee. So 2 great former Cleveland pitchers. You combine them and maybe he'll be great.
Yeah, both of them pretty much done for the year, unfortunately, right now. C.C. Sabathia on the list, not likely to come back. And same for Cliff Lee. In fact, they just put him on the disabled list, I think, today, if not yesterday. And not sure what the status of his elbow will be between now and the end of the year.
The look on his face when he left that game the other day, you knew something not good was happening. What a year for elbow injuries, huh? Man. And it doesn't make any difference whether you're a veteran or a youngster. Frazier rips this one foul to the right side. He lined out, struck out, and walked. In the 6th, he walked and then stole second, his 17th stolen base of the year, and later scored on the base hit by Chris Negron to make it 4-0 Reds. No balls, 2 strikes to the Reds' first baseman of the night. Homestand continues tomorrow. In addition to all the Hall of Fame festivities, Mike Leake will go to the mound. Alfredo Simon set to go Saturday, and Sunday it'll be Johnny Cueto. Night game Friday, night game Saturday, day game Sunday. Monday's an off day. Not many of them in the next month. And the Reds play the Red Sox for 2. Matt Latos and Homer Bailey. Latos will face Joe Kelly, the former Cardinal pitcher, who now is in Boston. And Bailey will face Brandon Workman on Wednesday. Muscles that one foul.
In fact, it is the Cardinals that are playing the Boston Red Sox right now. They got a late start going in St. Louis, just like last night when they had a rain delay at the very beginning of the game. Boston nowhere near the team that they were at the very beginning of the year. They are losing to the Cardinals 3-2. They're in the 3rd inning.
Pirates still leading Miami 5-0. High in the air to left. Swisher, does he have room? He circles around and will haul it in. Well, Frazier retired here, but say hi to the dancing dog, our John Merrill hot dog play of the game. Boy, this could have been a game changer. Instead of a double down the line, Frazier turns a hard hit ground ball into 2, taps the bag. They get the tag play at second, and Murphy's robbed of extra bases on a great play by Frazier. And yes, the Reds scored at the bottom of the first, but the game would have looked a whole lot different because right after that, Brantley doubled. It could have been a 2 or 3 run inning for the Indians here.
Yeah, it looked at that time like Homer Bailey might not be on top of his game. That's a nice play, at least half of one.
Now Chisenhall makes a brilliant play at third, but the ball kicks away from the glove of Santana at first, so on first will be Mesoraco. And finally, after hitting the ball hard last time up and striking out twice, they're going to charge Chisenhall with an error, but it's a ball very catchable down at first.
Well, it was in the dirt, and that's why they're going to give him an error. He makes a nice backhanded play right there. That's tough because it's got overspin on it, but it's better to throw it to the first base on a fly.
Confucius say.
Man. Talk about defensive woes. I mean, I'm sure Terry Francona somewhere, if he doesn't keep track of it, I'm sure somebody in that Cleveland organization does. How many extra outs that defense has given the opposition, and how many extra pitches the pitchers have thrown because of that, and how many extra pitchers you have to get into the games because the pitchers that were in threw extra pitches.
Yeah, and talking to the coaching staff for the Indians, they figure, I mean, not exacting, but they figure they're giving away somewhere around 31 outs a night on a regular basis.
4 more than usual.
4 more than usual.
And there are some teams that take away outs. And I think the Reds are one of those teams that turn what looks like would be a base hit into an out. Brandon Phillips does that for a living.
Yep. No balls, 2 strikes to Ludwig, who singled in a run, struck out and flied out. And he's retired here. That's strikeout number 3 for Lee. For the Indians, this is their 3rd error of the game, and it's the 6th time this year they've had 3 errors in a ball game. They lead the league in every unkind defensive stat that you can imagine.
Right there, 59 unearned runs.
That's 9 more than anybody else in the league. Here's Negron, bounce to third, single to right, and single to right again, driving in a run to make it 4-0. Oh, and 2. Roxton continues to loosen if needed as we look to the 9th. Santana, Gomes, and Chisenhall are due up for the Indians. Right field again. Murphy there. Got it. And that'll do it. The Reds get a base runner on an error. Nothing else to show for it. We go to the 9th. Reds lead at 4-0.
what you can, all you can carry. Take what you can and leave the past behind. Take what you can, all you can carry. Take what you can and leave the past behind. We gotta
Picture's worth 1,000 words, and that picture tells you the story of this night. The Reds 4 runs, 8 hits, and an error. The Indians no runs, 5 hits, 3 errors on the night. So combined great pitching from Homer Bailey. He joined us late, 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 8 strikeout, 1 walk. With the Reds offense of 2 runs in the first, run batted in from Ludwig, another run scoring on a base hit by Bruce and an error, another run scoring on a triple by Hamilton, and another run scoring on Negron's base hit. So you turn it over to Jonathan Broxton, Chris, as we go to the ninth.
Well, Jonathan Broxton now game number 43, and you know, doesn't this game seem like it's more secure than just a 4-0 ball game? I mean, that's how good the Reds pitching is, that they don't even allow the opposition to kind of get back into it. You combine that with good defense. Broxton does have 6 saves. Of course, he got those saves early in the year when Aroldis Chapman was on the disabled list after being drilled by a batted ball in spring training. Not a save situation with the Reds up by 4.
Reds turned the shift on Santana, who lined right to Negron the last time up. And the shift very similar to the one last time up for him. Santana walked in the first, struck out in the fourth, and then hit that line drive to Chris at second. Santana, Gomes, and Chisenhall due up. Switch hitter pops it up. Is there going to be room? As Araujo casts the mask away and squeezes it. One away. Your report card on Homer tonight, Chris. A.
I mean, didn't give up any runs. And he's following in the footsteps, and those are high, big footsteps, and they raise the bar of expectation very high when you've got Johnny Cueto and then Latos and then Homer Bailey. I mean, that pitching staff, it continues to just dominate.
There's Gomes. Jan struck out twice and then drilled a base hit to right in the 7th.
I think what was interesting for Homer tonight was the fact that, you know, in that first inning is one that he looked like he was the most susceptible to something happening. You know, the Indians hit 3 balls. The first 3 batters of the game hit the ball fairly hard. And had the Reds not been able to do some pretty good defense, you know, you don't know what would have happened in that first inning. Sometimes you never get a chance to go out and pitch a really great game because you can't get out of the first. But the defense picked him up there, and then he picked them up the rest of the way.
The ball's 1 strike to Yan Gomes. Broxton to the stretch. Close your eyes and go back to 2007 when Homer pitched against the Indians here. And we remarked earlier when we showed you the flashback shots of that game, he faced Grady Sizemore, and the first guy he faced. What a growth process for Homer Bailey to get now 7 years later to 2014 and be the complete pitcher that he is.
Well, in that period of time, he's started 164 games. And if you don't grow up and get better, you don't start that many games.
And now within 2 innings of 1,000 innings for his career. Here's the 0-2. Nasty. Well, Chisenhall represents the last hope for the Indians. 2 ground balls and a strikeout for Lonnie tonight. 2 away. $31,862 will tell you the story of this at bat. Bailey had 8. Parra had 1. Broxton has 1. Down to their final strike. Two, Broxton to Chisenhall.
Give them what they want.
Smiling scoreboard for the Reds. There's your exclamation point on a night where Homer Bailey went 7 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 8 strikeouts. Hara added a strikeout. Broxton strikes out 2 in the ninth. That's the pitching side of it. And oh, by the way, the Reds win the Ohio Cup, and Brian Price can congratulate Chris Negron because he is now the most outstanding player of the 2014 Ohio Cup. Billy Hamilton, the man with the happy feet, got the Reds running to start this one off. And the Reds take 3 of 4 from the Indians. First time they've won the season series, Chris, since 2010.
Well, this is a better ball club, George, than they've had over the last couple of years. They got good pitching. The Indians are down a little bit on the defensive side. They gave them a lot of opportunities, the Reds, that is. But the Reds are beginning to get a little momentum going. And they've got the Marlins coming into town, then the Boston Red Sox, certainly 2 teams that are somewhat on the downside this year. So, see if they can't make some hay this weekend on a big Hall of Fame weekend. No better way to celebrate that with some current Reds wins.
Still a whole lot more to talk about. Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro standing by. We've got more when we return after these messages. Reds win it 4-0.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.